Hi everyone, Matt Watson here from Carwow. Now I have some sad news for you. New cars are going to be getting more boring. And you can blame the latest rules and regulations. So in this video I'm going to tell you what these rules and regulations are and how they could reduce the fun factor of modern cars. Let's get on with it. Nitrogen oxides are bad for you. They can cause respiratory and cardiovascular problems. That's why the latest Euro 6C emissions rules state that petrol engines can't emit any more than 60 milligrams of the harmful NOx gases. To achieve this target, car makers are now having to fit petrol particulate filters to their cars to break down nitrogen oxides into less harmful carbon dioxide, nitrogen and water. Now this is a good thing for everyone's health. However, there is a downside for petrol heads, as they make cars sound more boring. You see, petrol particulate filters form part of the car's exhaust system and they're located close to the exhaust manifold, where they act like an extra muffler in the exhaust right by where the source of the sound comes from, the engine cylinders. And it's a little bit like putting cotton wool in the mouthpiece of a trumpet. As a result, they alter the tone and noise coming out of the exhaust system. They also prevent the pops, crackles and bangs you get from performance cars, which occurs due to an explosion either happening earlier in the system or unburned fuel exploding in the exhaust, which sounds great regardless of how it happens. For example, this is an older Audi R8 that doesn't have a petrol particulate filter fitted to it. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? Now this is the latest model with a petrol particulate filter. It's not so awesome, is it? Manufacturers have to make sure that all the cars they sell emit less than 95 grams per kilometre of carbon dioxide on average by 2021. Now if they can't meet this figure, then they'll have to pay hefty fines. Now this is fine for brands which sell lots of hybrids or electric cars such as Toyota, but it's much harder for companies who only sell a few models and means their range is no longer viable. This is the reason that Suzuki has had to axe the new Jimny in Europe despite only recently relaunching it, and despite the fact the car is in huge demand. The problem is the Jimny's naturally aspirated 1.5 litre petrol engine emits 154 grams per kilometre of carbon dioxide, which means that if Suzuki sell too many of them, it will get a huge fine. So it's just cancelling it. Brilliant. Now these rules are also making it harder for manufacturers to justify building high-performance versions of their brand new cars. In fact, Ford said that these stricter emission rules are one of the reasons why it's decided to scrap plans to do an RS version of the new Focus. Damn it. Automatic gearboxes used to be a posh feature you only got in high-end cars, but now almost everything comes with an automatic gearbox option. And in some cases, automatics are the only option, even on cheapish cars, like the new Honda Jazz for example. In the past, automatic cars used to deliver worse fuel consumption than manuals, but with the latest systems, it's often the other way around, as they are more efficient. Also, manufacturers can program them to change gear at specific times to maximise economy, rather than leaving it to the driver who might not be so careful. Yeah, we're all a bit guilty of that, aren't we? Now the downside of this is that manual gearboxes are getting rarer and rarer these days. Even in sports cars like the new Toyota Supra, where efficiency isn't so important. In fact, many BMW M cars are automatic only, and all AMGs are. What is the world coming to? Now we have to acknowledge these automatic gearboxes will actually make you fast around a track, but they do remove an element of fun from the whole driving experience, which is actually more important than Nürburgring lap times, let's be honest. Rev limiters are fitted to engines to cut the ignition and stop you revving the engine past the red line and therefore braking it. Annoyingly, some manufacturers are now fitting what's known as soft limiters to their cars to prevent you revving the engine to the normal red line when you're stationary. Now, this is to reduce fuel consumption, prevent unnecessary wear on the engine and stamp out hooligan behaviour, which is also known as fun to me. Now Audi is one brand that loves a soft limiter. Just check out what happens when you try to rev the new RS4. It's the same with the RS7 too. Now even Porsche is doing it. This is the new 911 Turbo S. It's fitted with a sports exhaust, but when you rev it when it's stationary, it sounds like this. For me, the biggest problem is that it makes it much more difficult for me to let you guys hear what an engine sounds like when it's stationary. Poor me and you, eh? Speed limits have been around for almost as long as cars have, but new rules coming in 2022 mean new models will have to be fitted with something called an intelligent speed assistance system. Basically, when you reach a certain speed, it restricts fuel to the car's engine to slow you down. Now, these new systems won't just kill the fun at 155 miles an hour, like the limiters currently fitted to BMWs, Audis and Mercedes. Instead, they'll use GPS and traffic sign recognition to stop you exceeding the speed limit wherever you are. Now, for safety reasons, such as if you suddenly need to accelerate to get yourself out of trouble, you will be able to override the system by pushing the accelerator harder. But then the system will flash warnings and sound annoying bonging alarms to force you to slow back down again. A bit like seatbelt warning systems, really. Now, I do accept that these speed limits will help reduce deaths caused by speeding, which is a good thing. But we will have to accept that it does mean that we all, as motorists, have less freedom. And this could just be the tip of the iceberg. Volvo has already started fitting its cars with blanket 112 mile an hour limiters. So even if you're in Germany, on the Autobahn, and the onboard system knows it's unlimited, it still won't let you do more than 112 miles an hour. Now, there isn't actually a new rule that says new cars have to weigh a certain amount. That would be completely stupid. But there are plenty of well-meaning rules and regulations that, as a byproduct, end up making cars heavier. There's occupant safety regulations for a start. When you make a car stronger and add complicated crumple zones and airbags, it starts getting heavier. It's a simple fact. Then there's all the filters and catalytic converters a car needs to pass emissions regulations, while new electrification systems with their extra components all add weight. Take the new Mark 8 Golf GTI for example. It weighs over 1,400 kilos. That's getting on for being almost twice as heavy as the original Mark 1 GTI. And we all know, the lighter a car is, the more agile it will be. The Alpine A110 is proof that lightness equals more fun. Personally, I love manual handbrakes as they let you do this. Yeah, I know it's kind of irresponsible, but as long as you do it in the right place, like at a test track or a skid pan, it's a lot of fun. However, nowadays, only around a third of new cars actually have manual handbrakes. 2/3 get an electric one. I kind of get why. It makes sense to have a button rather than traipse a big cable all the way from the back wheels to the drive and have this like lever in the way of the center console. And it means the car will automatically put the handbrake on when you lock it, so it doesn't roll away into your neighbour's house, which is actually a good thing. But I'm still going to miss being able to do a nice big dirty handbrake turn at a test track. For your viewing pleasure, of course. Back in the old days, manufacturers would just crash test their cars to make sure everyone inside was protected. Now though, regulations means cars have to provide good protection to pedestrians too. And that is a good thing. But there is a downside. It means that the front of cars have changed a lot over the years to make them less likely to injure a pedestrian's soft, squidgy body in a crash. Pop-up headlights were one of the first things to get banned. I mean, they look awesome, but they will do the human body a lot of damage. Car bonnets have also been made higher so they're further away from the top of the engine. This is so if someone rolls up onto the bonnet in a crash, they don't hit their head on the solid metal engine underneath. All this though affects the way new cars look, and the new Mini is a perfect example. When it was relaunched in the early noughties, it looked like this. Cool and cute, right? But the latest one looks like this. Sort of a bit of a dog's breakfast, mainly because pedestrian protection regulations have meant BMW has had to raise the bonnet higher, which has created more bodywork at the front that designers have had to fill in with loads of tacky bits of plastic. Back in the day, if a manufacturer wanted to take their car racing, then they'd have to build a homologation version. So this was basically a slightly towed down road going version of the racing car that they put on sale. So it was basically a racing car with number plates and a cup holder. Homologation gave us loads of cool cars. There's the BMW E30 M3 Evo and the Mercedes Cosworth 190e Touring. Then there was the Porsche 911 GT1 and Mercedes CLK GTR from endurance racing. GT Racing gave us the Maserati MC12 and NASCAR produced the mental Dodge Daytona 500 and Plymouth Superbird. Sadly, homologation doesn't really happen anymore. The regulations in most series changed, so manufacturers no longer need to sell amped up road cars to enter their purpose-built racing cars. There is one exception though, and that's rallying. WRC homologation rules meant that Toyota has had to build a four-wheel drive two-door version of the Yaris. It's called the GR, and it looks absolutely bonkers and should go like stink. It's going to be a collector's item, and if you want to find out more about that car, click on the pop-out banner up there to watch my detailed video on it. I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you did, please give it a like. Also let me know about what you think about the rules on this list in the comments below, and are there any others you know of which could also make cars more boring? Then if you want to watch some more content, you can just click on the video windows there, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to turn your notifications on. Finally, if you hit the carwow logo, you can go to our website where you can research which new car to buy. You'll also be able to save on average £3,600 if you use one of our approved dealers. Thanks for watching.